Okay, we are going to start adding color to our villages using chalk pastel and Prismacolor pencils. I'm going to first clean off my chalk pastel because it has some other colors on it. And then I'm going to start with the area that's at the top of my drawing, and I'm going to flip it over so that it's closer to me. To use the pastel, I'm going to rub them gently all over those large areas and then use my finger to blend them. So I'm going to blend them so that the color is really smooth, and then I'm also going to push the color close to the edges of the mountains that I have here. The chalk pastel is really nice for large areas because it creates a smoother finish than color pencil does. I'm going to finish up this sky. We're going to be using chalk pastel for all of our large areas. So sky, hills, mountains, if you have a lot of water, that's really what you're going to want to use. The chalk pastel is also really nice because it's so blendable and you can blend one color into it to create your own custom color. So right there, what I did was I just tapped the chalk dust that was on my paper. That's really important because you don't want to get chalk dust into each other's lungs. You don't ever want to blow that chalk dust. Right now, I'm blending some gray into my sky to make it a little bit darker. Now I'm going to speed things up and show you all of my chalk pastel work. Notice that I'm using my eraser. The chalk pastel is very erasable, so if you accidentally get it onto a part of your drawing that you didn't intend to, you can simply erase it. I've created a dark purple by first starting off with a gray and then going over it with purple and then blending the two colors together with my finger. Now I'm getting some grassy parts in, and then last I'm going to get the water of the waterfall in. So I'm going to lift a little bit of color off in places where I felt like it maybe got a little bit too dark. So that's a nice trick to know about, is that you can take a tissue and lift color off in places where you feel like you've got a little bit too much, just simply using a tissue. And then notice that I am tapping off that clay dust, chalk dust, tapping it off onto my table. Okay, so now I'm going to take an eraser and erase the places where I got chalk, where I didn't want it to go. So on my tree over here and on the tree trunk and maybe a few of my houses. And now I'm ready to think about color pencil. I'm going to put down a tissue because I'm one of those people that likes to rest my hand on my drawing, and I don't want my chalk pastel to smear. So that tissue paper is going to prevent my drawing from smearing. I'm using the Prismacolor to fill in small details now because they're way more precise, but I can still overlap colors, and I can also use something called a colorless blender. So a colorless blender is a really cool tool because it gives you more of a watercolor look with your color pencils, or even almost like a marker type of a look. So you can see what it does to the color and how it changes it. The only downside to the colorless blender is that once you've put it on there, you can't add any other colors to it, so you can't do any more layering. Now I'm going to lift some more chalk pastel off of places where I've lost some of my details, like I've got these little swirly things that I made, and I want to lift them off, some of the chalk off so that I can see them a little bit more. So a Q-tip is a nice way to make adjustments in small areas. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to finish up my color pencil work on this building, and then I will continue going along, filling in all of my small details. So this is a time lapse so that you can see all of my color pencil work. And then you can see also places where I blended one color into another to customize. So on this big tree, I'm going to add some darker pink in some spots to create a little bit more visual interest. On the monster houses, I'm going to start with one purple and then layer a hot pink over the top to customize that color, and so on and so forth. The Prismacolors will cover over some of your chalk pastel, so you don't have to be meticulous in erasing the entire area. But here you go. We're all set.